So this is our nursery cage, and I've currently got little Primrose with me. If you saw her last week, you will notice how much her colour has changed and developed. She just wants to cuddle up to me at the moment, but it's really changed. She's a beautiful little badger, but she's not show quality, but that's fine because we didn't want her for showing. She's determined to go up my arm again. Have a look in the camera, Prim. Hey baby, there she is. I'm going to put her in the cage while I talk to you because she's really wriggly. There you go, sweetheart, that's it. I'll have to put the lid down, I'm afraid, which does obscure the view. But look, little girl, she's going to try and get out there. Let's put this down. There's a good girl, and we can move the camera about. So that's Primrose. She's been an absolute darling. She tends to potter about a lot in a day. It's funny how different their characters are, because Lara will come out for a short burst, race around like a mad rat, and then go back into the cage and sleep for a while, whereas Prim tends to be pottering about a lot more, but she's a lot quieter. Not quite so energetic and boisterous, but still very lively and fit and healthy. We have no worries there. So they have been absolutely wonderful. It's been an up and down week. 2 days after the girls arrived, we had to go and have both Wash and Jim put to sleep, which was very sad. Not good at all. They both had long-term health problems. Poor Wash, if you remember back to January, he was very ill, and I had to get him off to the vet as an emergency, and we tested his urine, and the sugar was just so high. It was awful. And he was diagnosed with diabetes. We treated him for the past 8 months with the glibazide tablets, which we would put in food twice a day. We had a lot of attention from the vet, who was very careful to help us to monitor Wash, and we had the diabetes under perfect control. It was wonderful. But then about a month ago he developed an irregular heartbeat. He'd been having monthly checks with the vet, and I'd noticed that Wash was doing some sort of like little jumpy hiccups, but they weren't really hiccups. And so anyway, we went off to the vet, and the vet said no, he's developed an irregular heartbeat. So we had him on some medication for his heart, and that was also working. But then he started to get problems with respiratory problems, and his breathing was quite laboured, and we suspected that he had tumours starting in his lungs like his brother's. So anyway, he was being monitored. He wasn't in pain, although we did have him on some anti-inflammatories. He seemed okay, and then he slowly sort of deteriorated over a week, and during that time we'd been treating Jim for a really persistent respiratory infection that just wouldn't go away. And he'd had lots of antibiotics, and in the end nothing was working, and he was starting to have huge amounts of porphyrin, and I could see in his eyes he was going down, he was losing interest. So we had to have him put to sleep. We won't let the rats linger on for weeks and days when we've tried everything and there's nothing we can do, and the vet can't do anything. They go to sleep sooner rather than later. I won't let them linger until the last minute or lie dying in their cage for days. They're put to sleep humanely with the general anaesthetic gas, followed by the injection when they're fast asleep, so they don't feel any pain or distress. We were left with a bit of a dilemma again with Wash, but he was so devoted to Jim, we decided to let the boys go together. We could have kept Wash for another week or two, but he would have been miserable, and because he had health problems, it wasn't going to be feasible to find him a friend. It was a different situation with Carol, because she's perfectly healthy, has nothing wrong with her. And we got her the babies, who very conveniently disappeared, so we're talking to an empty cage, which is not too good. So I've had a desolate week, very upset in one hand, missing my cuddly squishy boys, who used to spend all evening on the sofa with me. But on the other hand, I've had the girls, the babies. Carol is a lot happier. She's coming out for cuddles again. She's forgiven me for taking her friends away. She loves the babies. Lara gets a bit lively for her sometimes, and so we're giving Carol lots of breaks so that she can sleep. She is after all too. And we will have them they're moving back into the big cage this weekend. We scrubbed it out, we steam cleaned it, all new cargo nets, all new wood toys, so it's perfectly clean for them. And the baby's going to go in the top section, the top level, and that will be their permanent home for now. Carol is going to go in with them in the day, and then she's going to go into the bottom section to sleep at night, because Lara gets really active at night time, and we feel she might be a little bit too much for Carol, and obviously we don't want to leave them alone together, they are still tiny babies. So that's what will happen for now, and then when the babies are a bit bigger we will open up the cage, bearing in mind Carol, with the history of her family, she could go at any time, so we will just see how it goes. But anyway, this is a nursery cage, and we've just been very careful with the babies. We are here with them all day. People are sitting next to the cage. We take it in turns, so although it's a small cage, we've done our intensive 2-day getting to know you for the rats. It helped that they were very, very tame and had been well handled. But for the first 2 days, we just had the houses in and some wood toys, because we were constantly sitting with our hands in the cage. And we've been also at the same time doing the rat introductions in another spare Mary cage with Carol. But these rats have barely been on their own, because even at night time there's been someone up late, and we all sleep funny hours in our house. Some people go to bed early and get up early, and others stay up later and then sleep later. So the time that the rats have actually been on their own has probably only been about 4 hours at night. But we shred up the safe bed paper and make it small pieces, so there's no long bits to get caught around legs or necks. We positioned cargo nets. The one over at this side is covering the food bowl, so that the rats can't fall from the top level here and land onto the food bowl. Yeah, we move things around a bit. They've got they've got wood chews. They've got the Sputnik house. They've got a tube at the back. They've got a pink house. They've got a mini teepee house down there. And just the orange one here. It won't fit them for long, but it's great fun for them at the moment. We have got a, just move my camera, which seems to be a bit stuck. Not sure what's going on here. There we go. We have the flying saucer wheel, which is used not in the cage they sleep in, but in a spare cage with no other things in there, so there's a soft landing. We don't leave the wheels in the cage all the time, because rats can get really crazy. We only use them under supervision for the baby rats. And in fact, we don't use wheels at all in our adult houses in the cages. We use them as floor toys. Now that's a 30cm flying saucer wheel. And the reason we don't leave them in the cages, we once had some babies and one of them got flung off across the cage because there were 2 baby rats on the wheel at the same time. And it was just lucky that there's nothing in the cage that could have injured her, but we're very wary of baby rats and wheels in cages. So the only one we use for babies is the flying saucer, and only under supervision. But in the afternoons, babies go into the spare cage on their own for half an hour and whiz round on that wheel and have great fun. And I'm sure my son will record them. There's Lara down there. Just see Lara's come out. She moves very, very quickly. A very lively girl. So that's the babies. So it is a small house, but they are out a lot. They're so tame. We can actually, from the second day, we were getting them out, sitting them on our knee. They were sitting around our neck. It's just amazing that they actually, from the beginning, just like to stay with us. This is a unique experience for us, because previously our babies have all been rescues, which have been never handled, needed to complete socialisation right from day one. So lots of things I'm doing differently. For a start, we're not going to keep large numbers of rats anymore, partly because my arthritis is getting worse, my vision's getting worse, and it was taking me so long to look after lots of cages of rats. I've loved every minute of it, every second. I would do it all again, but I've come to the stage where we have spent so much money on vet bills, and it's been so stressful that it's made me feel actually physically ill this year, well, I've now lost 17 rats in 4 months. And we knew it would happen when we took in the rescues of all the babies the same age. When we found out they had genetic problems, we knew this would happen. But when you actually get to it, it is really, really stressful. So we were going to have a break from rescuing, and then we decided, well, hold on. We need to get a friend for Carol. We couldn't find a friend for Carol, another older rat. So the only solution was the babies. And we thought about it, and I thought to myself, well, you know, if I'm going to have baby rats, it's silly to leave it a year or two. My arthritis will get worse. If I get baby rats now, I know that I'll be okay to look after them. And I've also got a backup plan. So if something bad happens to me, I've got 2 people who will come and help look after the rats, or possibly take them in if my sons felt they couldn't cope on their own. But they are devoted to the rats, and, you know, although obviously I'm hoping nothing bad happens to me, you have to be prepared. You have to always, and I think whatever age you are, it's good to have a backup plan. Yeah, hello. Hello. Little Prim. So we're doing lots of things differently, and I was fortunate last week when I was searching for a friend for Carol to meet some wonderful people who I'm hoping to keep in contact with here. And one of them was a breeder. She is actually a registered breeder for the National Fancy Rat Society, and although she couldn't help me, she has given me some wonderful advice. I know nothing, absolutely nothing about breeding rats. Very little about caring for tiny rats, because most of my rats have come to me at 5 weeks plus. And with our older rescue rats, we've had a policy of, we would, unless their food was totally unsuitable, we would keep them on the same food we were feeding them, so we didn't stress them, and then we would gradually add in some of our own food, and we always give organic fruit and vegetables. So basically we followed a line with our rescues of things we know that work well, they work for us, affordable when you've got huge numbers of rats. A lot of people have said to me over the years, why don't you use rat rations? Nothing against rat rations, it was the fact that the cost of transporting them to where I live, I'm not on the mainland. And the same with the card bedding, it was so expensive to get it sent over here. But now I don't have as many rats. We are looking at different ways of doing things. And rat rations have been suggested to me by several people. I'm just going to fix my camera a minute again so it doesn't suddenly fall over. So we've had a look at rat rations, and they now, you can order from them with DPD and have up to, if you order between 2 and 10 kilos, it's only £7 for delivery. Now that's not too bad. So we've had a look and we've decided, with the baby rats are still having some nuggets, but we've ordered some, it says Morley Avery's, but that is the parent company, is rat rations. We ordered the number 9 complete mixture without garlic for mums and babies, and the rats love it. The thing that concerned me that I didn't know about, and it's freaked me out a bit, is all the little like insects and things that are in there. Dead insects, of course, but are full of protein for baby rats. And the other thing that is the problem is it has to be kept at under 15 degrees centigrade. Now, that is a little bit of a problem if your house is a little bit warmer than that. Now, my house varies from 18 degrees centigrade to 22. And up on the top floor, because we're in a big townhouse, the top floor tends to be 22. So the base level is the coolest. So hopefully my hall will be cool enough. But there was a warning that if it gets too hot, you might get an infestation of weevils. Oh, and I said, oh no, insects. No, I cannot feed my rats something that's got like live things in, even though it's not dangerous to them. So I've been on Facebook talking to some people, and I've had some suggestions of that you should freeze the food first and then put it into a plastic clip tub and all sorts of things. So I can see that storage of this could be complicated. We're going to see how we go. And I also bought, because when babies are bigger, we wanted to give them a good food and see, you know, how much that will affect their health and everything. Now I ordered for Carol a number 7 rat rations with no soya. I did mean to get the one without garlic as well, but I forgot, and I got the no soya one. And the one with garlic is quite powerful. You can smell it as soon as you come into the room, but the rats do like it. So I will probably order the one without garlic next, purely because I really don't like the smell of garlic. I don't mind eating it, I just don't like the smell of it. And why I've got no soya. Now this is like, this is a personal thing. And I know lots of people say soya is fine for rats. and it might well be, but someone who has in the past had breast cancer, I have read a lot on nutrition regarding cancer, and my personal belief is I avoid soya. It also doesn't actually agree with me. It gives me, I feel very uncomfortable. It's like my stomach, it just doesn't feel right when I've had soya. Sorry about my hand wobbling about there. So I don't like soya, and the same reason I was told don't eat chickpeas if you've had breast cancer. Now I'm happy to say I'm past the 5 years. I was very lucky, mine was caught very early. But I'm also, thinking about, with the rats prone to memory tumours, is it a good idea to give them soya? And the division is so, some people are saying yes and some people are saying no. So until I can investigate a little bit further, and I've been Rat Rations also have a book. I'm just going to get my piece of paper and see what it's called. Yes, it's called The Scuttling Gourmet, and I'm actually going to get that so I can read up a little bit more about rat diet and alternative diets. And this is the thing I can do when I don't have as many rats. I don't know whether I'll get more boy rats. Ideally, if I did, I would only have 2. I am missing my boys so much. I'm going to open the door because I want the girls to come and see you. They've worked out how to get out of this cage. Come along here, Prim. See if she'll come along here. Let's move the camera a bit. She did just keep sitting just out of the camera line. Oh, we can hardly see her there. Come on, Primrose. Let's see if we can get her on. Come on, Prim. And Lara's in the little teepee tent. Now, Lily had a bigger version of the teepee tent years ago, and she loved it. Here we go. Here's our little Lara. Hey, there she is. Come on, little girl. Worked out how to get out of the house. So that's been me sort of babbling on a little bit about the things that have been going on. I say it's been a really mixed, sad week. I'm missing my boys terribly. I get up in the morning, I'm so used to doing medicines twice a day. My whole routine the first few days, I just didn't know what to do with myself. So I just sat next to the baby's cage and talked to the babies. They're going to bring lots of fun and joy. We are hoping in a few months' time we're taking in a mummy rat with 1 or 2 of her babies. So we have a lovely cage full of female rats. And we will see about having some boys. I've got Lara around my neck at the minute. Sorry, not Primrose is around my neck. Here she goes. She's not going to stay here. But basically, sorry it's been a bit boring looking at a bare cage. It's what always happens when I film. The rats all disappear. But they're doing well. And thank you everybody who stayed with us through the tough, depressing months that we've had. We hope that now things are going to get better. And I'm still rehoming rats for charity, although I'm not going to take as many into my own home. I'm just going to have my own little group of rats and just have a little break from, the sadness of the past year or so. Although I've loved every minute with the rats, and the rats were wonderful. I will never regret taking them in, or the money, or the time. It was worth it, it really was. But just for a little while, we're just going to concentrate on having some fun.